Hi guys, welcome to Wheel of Betting. I'm Jim Knight, back for another weekend of team goal tips. Hopefully going to give us some more winners after Blackpool conceded twice against Blackburn to land as a nice winner last weekend. Fingers crossed we can get some more on the board. We've got 3 selections this weekend. I would still advise small stakes on these because of the early part of the season and because they're slightly bigger prices as well. So hopefully if one of the bigger price ones comes in, it covers you for the other 2 as well. Again, we are going for team goals, so it's teams to score 2 or more in the Football League. We've got 1 selection from the Championship, 1 from the League 1 and 1 from League 2. I've got some notes down here as well. I'm just going to rattle through so to make sure that I get my facts straight. First one we're going to go for is Huddersfield against Charlton. I'm going to side with Charlton. It's got 2 or more here. So Huddersfield got their first points of the season against Reading in midweek. They beat them 2-1. At the Majewski. Now that's a good result in isolation. I'm still not convinced about them defensively though, and if you look at the stats from that game, Reading had 8 shots off target and only 2 on target and still scored 1 goal. So if they'd have managed to be a bit more shrewd with their shooting, then they might have got something out of that game and landed a team over 1.5 goals themselves. So start off Huddersfield, they've got no permanent manager, still looking to appoint a successor to Mark Robins after they got thumped 4-0 by Bournemouth and he left. Following that result, just after like 2 days of the new season, got the managerial merry-go-round off and running nice and early. Following that, they played Chesterfield and it was 5-3 in the cup, so they conceded a couple there. Then they played Cardiff in the league and lost 3-1. So that 2-1 win, sorry, should I say, against Reading is their 4th match without a clean sheet, and I'm still not convinced about it defensively. They come against Charlton, who, to be honest, for me, one of the surprise packages of this season so far. They've only had a few games, but the way that they've been playing has really impressed me, and some of the teams that they've beaten as well. If you look at their results, Charlton have been in good scoring form, so they beat Derby 3-2, who were one of the pre-season favourites on my pick to go up from the Championship as well. So they beat them at the Valley 3-2 on Tuesday. That builds on a 2-1 win over Wigan, who were super impressive last year under Rosler, and I thought were going to do well this year. A 4-0 win over Colchester in the Cup as well, and a 1-1 draw against Brentford in the first match of the season. If you watch the highlights or you've seen them of the Brentford game, Charlton really should have been out of sight before Brentford equalised. They had a couple of really good chances, hit the bar, an open goal hit the bar, and should have landed at over 1.5 goals bet there themselves. So the last 3 games have been at home for Charlton, so those goal scoring exploits have all come at home. So there are question marks about their away form. Obviously they've only played 1 match away this season, and that was the Brentford game, as I said, but they should have scored over 1.5 goals there. I've been pretty impressed with them and what they've done so far. So I think at 11-5 they're worth taking a chance to score 2 or more against a Huddersfield team that haven't been particularly good defensively. Move on to League 1, and we've got Bradford against Peterborough. Now this is the shortest price of the selection. It's still 13-10, so it's still decent shade of odds against. It's the lack of centre-backs that worry me for Posh, to be honest. They've got Gab Zakwani, out, and they've got Jack Baldwin, both got injured the first couple of weeks of the season. They lost 2 more defenders in the game in midweek as well, and they are Peterborough, so they always concede goals. Seemingly, they seem to just try and score more than the opposition, and they have done for quite a few years now. I'm quite worried about what the defensive lineup's going to be for Peterborough at the weekend, based on the loss of those players. Bradford are going well this year as well. They've got 7 points, I think, from the first 3 games. They've been in the goals too, so scored 3 against Crawley in midweek and 3 against Coventry on the opening day of the season. Phil Parkinson's side really know how to get the best out of set pieces as well. So we saw last year with their crazy cup run, their Capital One Cup run all the way to the final. A lot of that was built on set pieces, and people like James Hansen been in really good form actually. 3 goals from 3 games, so he should be a real danger in the air and from set pieces. They're always worth watching at corners and free kicks anyway, Bradford, because they're so well organised. But I think Posh could pay the price. Peterborough have leaked 2 goals in their last 2 games as well, plus the loss of those defenders means it could be a pretty makeshift back line. One of those was a 3-2 win against MK Dons, so even though they won 3-2, they leaked the 2 goals, which is all we need for this bet to land. Bradford should cause them plenty of problems, to be honest. I think at 13-10 it's a decent bet that Bradford get 2 or more. They're at home, they should put the pressure on this Peterborough defence that probably won't have played together that much. They're certainly not going to be a first choice back line, so I'll take Bradford there at 13-10. The third one comes from League Two, and it's from Northampton v Shrewsbury game, and we're going to back Shrewsbury here to score 2 or more. They're in form, and they're 7-4 to score 2 or more at Sixfields, which is a pretty decent price, nearly 2-1. So Northampton started the season well, but then went to Portsmouth and got beaten 2-0 in midweek. And they faced a Shrewsbury side that are really going along at a rate of knots in this early part of the season. The Northampton boss Chris Wilder spoke after the Pompey defeat and said losing Ian Morris in training, got injured on Monday, and said it was an incident so bad they pretty much had to stop the training session. He thought that might have affected them, the team, with their 2-0 defeat. So, you know, not necessarily saying they're going to still be struggling from that, but, you know, there's obviously still some lingering issues with the squad. If something bad like that happens, you don't know how it's going to affect them, and I'm willing to back Shrewsbury here to take advantage of a Northampton defence that did concede 2 in midweek and should hopefully do so again, even though they're at home this weekend. So Shrewsbury beat Accrington 4-0 in midweek. A caveat to that was that the Accrington keeper got sent off after they were 1-0 up. So I think he conceded a penalty, got sent off. Shrewsbury then obviously went on to score 3 more goals. They also followed that before that result. It was a 2-1 win against Tranmere. Obviously that would have covered the over 1.5 goals as well. And a 1-0 win over Blackpool in the Cup, which was a great result for them. So they've got some form coming into this game. They should have plenty of confidence. As I say, Shrewsbury were against 10 men for that 4-0, but Mickey Mellon did say in his post-match interview I read on the BBC website that they could have easily had more than 4, so hopefully that's sparked the attackers into plenty of form, and they can take that kind of form into Saturday's game at Sixfields. To be honest, 7-4 is a bit bigger than I was expecting. I was expecting kind of closer to 6-4, maybe a bit 13-8, but at 7-4 I'll certainly take a chance on Shrewsbury. So just to sum up the 3 bets for this week, all small stakes, as I said, advised early part of the season, but Charlton scored 2 or more, 11-5 against Huddersfield. Then we've got Peterborough to concede 2 or more against Bradford, so Bradford over 1.5 goals at 13-10. And the final selection is from League 2. It's Northampton v Shrewsbury. Shrewsbury to score 2 or more at 7-4. Cheers, guys. See you next week.